Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time I'm going to do a long awaited, because it's been about a month now, Star Wars unboxing video. So I've got 3 boxes to show you today. Now this first one is a bit of a mismatch of stuff. So I've got old paperwork, posters, there's some Palitoy items that I'm excited to show you, my spare box of weapons and bits and bobs like that. So some good stuff in there. So be interested to go through that little lot. Then this one here has got 2 AT-ST Scout Walkers in. I can see one's a Palitoy, but I'm not sure about the other ones, so we've got those to have a look at. And then this last box has got, well, this one here I believe is the US mail order catalogue Jabba the Hutt playset, which is quite scarce over here rather than the British illustrated box. So we've got that and something else as well. So anyway, a few boxes to have a look through today. So that will be the subject of the video. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so when I actually got into these boxes, there was far more in them than what I initially thought. So, well, we'll go through them bit by bit. I'll do the smaller bits first, and I'll pause about halfway and we'll do the larger items. So the first thing that I came across was an old PC game. Now, this is the X-Wing Collectors series. Originally, it came out as just Star Wars X-Wing. But they then did it was such a great success on the very early Windows PCs back in 92, 93, 94. But then came TIE Fighter, and then ultimately TIE Fighter versus X-Wing. And then they added some of the other ships as well, like the B-Wings and things like that. I remember absolutely loving this game, although it was super difficult. You have to use your entire keyboard. It was like a flight simulator taken to the next level. And I absolutely love this, I have to say. I think this is just the version which came with a CD. We'll have a double check here. Oh yeah, look, here we are. So Dark Forces, look, a demo of Dark Forces for PC. That was another great game, wasn't it? And there's the CD for that. 2 disco there with the manual and things like that. Upstairs as well, I seem to remember in my book library I do have the strategy book for Star Wars X-Wing, which is in itself fantastic and includes an original Star Wars story set in that universe, sort of the time of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire trilogy. So anyway, that is the original X-Wing game in the like the omnibus edition, as it were. If I can get this one back in. There we are. And as I said, a lot of fun with that one. It's absolutely fantastic game. Next thing I found was this, which is a French jigsaw. Now, as you know, I love my French Star Wars, Guerre des Étoiles, and this is probably one of the ones that was brought over by my friend Lauren, who's got a shop still going today in Quimper in Brittany. And if you ever get that way, there is some Star Wars stuff in there. It's not in the best of boxes, but I mean, how many of these are even over in Britain at the moment? I'm assuming if it's in a bag, chances are I did it, because I used to bag these up once they were complete. So I'm assuming that one is all there, and it's just the classic approach to the Death Star scene, which we've seen. Waddington's did a version of this as well, although this particularly, in fact, yeah, it says Capipa. Made by Waddington, so it was actually printed and made in Britain and then sent over to the Europe. So that's a really nice one. Never seen any others in that series. The next bit is actually something a bit more modern. It's one of those bits from the mid-90s that crept into the collection. This is another bubble bath from Grosvenor, and as far as I can see, all it's got is like a little. You press the top button and it just R2 lights up. So that's that. Next, we got some stationery bits. So if you remember HFC, we've come across these before in these unboxing videos, and we used to sell these in the shop. So we would have, these were wholesale, you know, you could buy these for just a few pounds a box, and we used to sell the Return of the Jedi pencils for like 50p or £1 each, but that's an empty display box for that. And these are from the same manufacturer. It's just a couple of like plain little like notebook jotting pads, so they're quite nice as well, and they're from the same manufacturer. Then we've got this one, which we've seen a couple of these before on the channel, and this is the first lot of Applause figural mugs. And this particular, I have only got a few, but this one's good because it's Boba Fett, and I think this probably is worth having a look at because, well, it's Boba Fett, let's be honest. So, bit of paperwork in the bottom. They said certificate of authenticity. They want to say this is really a Boba Fett mug. I don't know. But as you know, I like my Boba Fett memorabilia, and that is a really nice item, that one. 1995, so these are almost 25 years old now, which is incredible when you think about it. It just shows how old I'm getting, of course. Right, so that's a couple of the more modern bits out of the way. Now I've got some juicy vintage stuff to show you, which I've been looking for this bag for absolutely ages, and it's my bag of bits and bobs and stuff, and spare weapons and things. So, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I have found my original Palitoy Death Star, because it was yet to be uncovered in all the boxes, but I've got it now. And I went and checked, and thankfully it has got all the bases. But there's this one here is, or these two rather, these are from the British Palitoy Cantina playset, which I've already shown on the channel, which are these yellow ones. I've got a couple of X-Wing guns, also could be useful on the Death Star turret. This is one of the Empire Strikes Back Kenner mail-away survival kits. So this basically fits in with that. You've got the gas mask, the Yoda backpack for Luke, a Hoth backpack, and then you had some weapons. Now, have I got them all? It's a Stormtrooper. No, I'm actually missing a couple of the rifles there. That's an IG-88 gun. That's a couple of Hoth Stormtrooper guns that I'm missing there. But I have got other ones. So I've got another spare Stormtrooper gun, the TIE Fighter pilot in black and grey. Admiral Akbar's stick, twice. A couple of Han Solo guns. Some other bits. That's off a Scout Walker. Well, I've actually got them out, so I could double check my Scout Walkers are complete. And a couple of Skiff Guard guns. That one there that's not Star Wars, that's something else. And a couple of spare lightsabers, so that's a Luke Bespin saber, I think. This is another spare Luke one. Anyway, that's a couple of Imperial Palace Guard guns as well. So that's my bits and bobs bag. So I slip all them back together. Always good, because you never know when you're going to need some of these bits and bobs. And I know you can buy replacement stands for the figures these days, but it's always nice to have mint ones and original ones. And when these used to come into the shop, we used to get the odd stand from someone who had a Death Star. I would always grab them because they were like gold, you know, they just wouldn't turn up. So quite nice to have all those original weapons. Now, the next thing I found, I thought I'd put all my trading card and bubblegum card stuff to one side, because I am planning to do a look through probably over 2 or 3 videos of my original Star Wars cards, and I've got Panini sticker albums and just loads of it, and British and American, inspired by the great brand new channel, which I don't know if you've ever come across it yet. It's called Wax Packing, and Carl over there has got a huge love of Star Wars, but also all sort of 70s and 80s and some 90s trading card series. So this is all 5 of the, so in America, Topps released 5 Star Wars sets. This is just some flat wrappers for each one. So that was the very first series of cards that Topps released. And these are exactly the same as the British ones. You can tell the British ones because they've got toys from Palitoy instead of toys from Kenner on the side there. But that was Series 1, and then the Blue Series, and this was the Series 2. And then Series 3 had the R2-D2 fronts. Series 4 with the green cards, which is those ones there. And then the final set that came out was Series 5, which had the X-Wing on the front. So anyway, I've got a much more extensive Topps Star Wars video in the pipeline, which I'm going to film very, very soon. As I said, Carl over on Wax Packing has given me the bug again to try and finish off some of my sets, and I've got absolutely loads to go through. There's about 5 boxes just of Star Wars related card products, so one to look forward to. And if you just can't wait for that, do check Carl's channel out over at Wax Packing. I shall pop a link in now. Okay, next thing we got some more HFC stationery products. I won't spend too much time on these because a lot of collectors have seen these now, but there was a couple of Luke's and a couple of the Jedi lightsabers, and they just come into sort of different sizes, and these are actually like rubbers. They're like pencil rubbers and that, so that's what they are. Some more HFC are these little mini memo pads. It's nice, you know, they're just sort of good fun for kids, I suppose, at school. I quite like them. I love this sort of, you know, not everything is action figure or toy related, and that's, I think, why I like it so much. So these come recommended. This is a bit older than that, and as you've seen, I've covered most of the Letraset line because I've pretty much got it all in previous videos. This is another really nice bit, and it's just a little Stormtrooper manual. But this one, unlike these, which are 83, this is back in 1978. This one was published. It's just a plain little Stormtrooper manual, and that's absolutely mint, isn't it? So that's really nice, that one. And then we've got this mini notebook. So these are the same publisher, but these are hardback, and they are so you got Boba Fett, you've got Lando there, X-Wing, and Ben Kenobi. So that's those. And I just see, yeah, I found these as well. I was not expecting to find any of this. And this is my my loose black hole figures. I forgot I'd packed these away. So we'll have a quick look at these. So these were similar size to the Star Wars figures, but they were made by Mego in the States. They did have a limited distribution in Britain. A couple of these are quite rare, but we'll see if you can spot the deliberate mistakes. So you've got Maximilian there, and that would have originally had a stand to stand him up. And you got Vincent, which is I remember loving this figure as a kid, and that once again came with a stand. This is one that a friend of mine did when we were at school, and this is to look like Old Bob. Now, Old Bob is a mega rare figure. It was released in this range, but it's super rare, and he sort of customized it and did his own version of Old Bob, and I kept it all these years, and he sort of pulled one of the legs off. You know, this is the Vincent. He pulled one of the legs off and beat it up and sprayed it, and that. I think he did a really good job, actually, you know. So there's Sam. And one thing else I hadn't realized, I recently went to a screening of all the Tarantino movies in order, and I was watching Jackie Brown, and I hadn't realized that the woman Jackie Brown goes off with at the end of the movie is the same guy who was the bondsman in Jackie Brown, and lo and behold, this is his action figure. So there you go. I never realized that until very recently. And of course, there's old Maximilian Schnell, who once again, as you know, I worked with him when I was filming the Shell Seekers down in Cornwall. So that's all my black hole figures, just the loose ones. I don't have many carded of those, but they are quite a nice little range. Next bit I've got is Wicket. I found this one, so it's a Wicket the Ewok children's thermos flask. I think this is American because it says it's the Thermos brand, and it's got a roughneck lunch kit, dated 1983. This is tying in more, I think, with the first Ewoks movie. Quite nice. This one's been signed by Warwick Davis there. I think this is, I think it was about 96 he signed this one, looking at it. So quite a nice little signature on there. And I think this one has got the, yeah, this one's also got the original thermos flask, which is also quite nice. Got someone's name there, M. Ledbetter. So M. Ledbetter, if you're watching this now, I've got your lunchbox, and your thermos flask. Just so you know, mate, you can't have it back. Right, now I've got some more smaller bits which I can show you before I need to sort of pause and pull the camera out. So let's see what we got here. Now that, you know, the Star Wars stickers. Let's see. That's an empty pack from the Star Wars stickers. I'm just seeing if I've got any more of these. Yeah, here we are. So this is what a full pack of these would have looked like sealed. And this is an opened pack where it's just got no stickers in at all. I'm pretty sure I've shown some of these stickers before, and I may have some in sort of my boxes of like bits and bobs and trading cards and things, so we'll have to see that when we come across it. But that's those. This is quite nice. So this is the Bounty Hunter capture log, and this is the British Palitoy version of this. And as I'm sure you know, what happened was when you bought a figure, and you see there's someone cutting out the name right off the front of the carded figure, which was utter sacrilege by today's standards. And also when you bought a ship, it would have the little bounty hunter logo on the side of the box, and you'd save so many, and then you could send them in, cover the postage, and you could get something. So you could get the Darth Vader's collector's case, for example, with 6 of those little names plus £8 for the postage. The survival kit that we showed earlier was 4 names plus 30p, and the Dengar was, you could get a whole figure, a Dengar mail order for 3 names plus 14p postage. I remember as a kid there was more than one person who would just get to the go to the carded figures and they'd just rip them to get the names out. And I remember when I had the shop, people would come in and the carded figures, they'd have the cards and the names had been ripped out because they'd done them for the bounty hunter logs. These are quite nice. So these are American, and these are Empire Strikes Back rub down transfers. That's by the American Publishing Company. They're brand new, Presto Magic. These have never been opened, so they're still sealed back in 1980. So these are certainly almost 40 years old now. So I've got 3 of those sets. Jabba Bog Planet. I've got the Asteroid Storm. And Deck of the Star Destroyer. There we are, pretty cool, eh? So that's those. Now, I was really delighted to come across these. Now, back in the late 80s, early 90s, I used to get Star Wars stuff from a dealer called Kevin Dickey, and he ran a Star Wars mail order business in Cornwall, not far from where I live, called Intergalactic Junk down in Helston. And no idea if he's still trading now or not, but I'm sure he's still into Star Wars. And he would send out a Star Wars themed Christmas card each year, and this is that one, Intergalactic Junk. And here's another one that he sent in 1995, another little Christmas card. So that's really nice, isn't it? Not sure where this one's come from. Oh yeah, that's another one, Intergalactic Junk again. So there we are. It's used an original one. So we've got 3 of them. Then we've got an old Star Wars envelope that was sent to my parents' address back in 1977. What's this? So this is from Star Wars the 15th Anniversary Collection. And this is 1992. And this was an advertisement, a mail out for anyone who wanted to buy the Star Wars plates, which I did not, because I always think these manufacturer collectibles are not really up my street. I'm not really a fan of them. And this is for the 15th anniversary of Star Wars back in 1992. And I thought that warranted saving that whole package. There's quite a lot of quite nice stuff in that from back in the 90s. What's this? This is the British Star Wars Fan Club. Pick up an application form here. I would imagine someone probably popped this into my shop because we sold so much Star Wars back in the day, and I kept one for myself. And there's just a couple of little flyers to join the British Fan Club. And look at that, dated in Liscard, very close to where I am again. And it was £7 for a year's membership, so that's what that is. That's to join the British Star Wars Fan Club. Oh, this is quite interesting. So this is, I know I've got some viewers who love the old Star Tours memorabilia, and I've had some hats and badges and things like that. This is also Star Tours, and it's probably from the late 80s, and it's a set of pens, which is really nice, isn't it? So Star Tours in the middle, the logo for there, and nice Disney collectible pen. I reckon these are 86 to 88, something like that is my guess for these. And they're still like sealed in the plastic, which has greyed a bit. I think, yeah, they're brand new. They've never been opened, so they're really nice. And the last thing I'll show you before I'm going to have to pause and pull the camera out a bit is these. So back in the mid-90s, Cards Inc. launched a range of British Star Wars prepaid phone cards, and this was the very first one they did. So a BT phone card here, 5 units, which I guess was about 50p, and they were limited, I think, to about 1,000 of each, and this was the very first one they did. Once again, that famous approaching the Death Star, the same one that was on that French jigsaw. It's exactly the same image. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause there because I've got some slightly bigger items which are going to need to have a bit more camera angle. Okay, so I've pulled the camera out a little bit now just so that you can see some of the bigger stuff that I pulled out today that were in the boxes. So this is a Tri-Logo promotional poster. This came with some of the bigger ships, and these are really, really interesting. I believe there's 3 different versions of this one. What I find instantly when I look down at it is this one down here where they've got prototypes of some of the Jedi figures. So there's like a prototype Emperor's Royal Guard there. The squid head's got a much darker cloak, things like that. So certainly of interest. These are really, really nice items. Interesting, the speeder bike there's not got the biker scout on, but he's actually just got a basic stormtrooper rather than the biker scout. Little things like that, they're just a bit of fun. So that's a Tri-Logo poster that was in this box. Now I've got an Empire one. This one's a little bit more worn, but I do love these things all the same. So this is a 2-sided Palitoy poster. This is really nice. So this one here has, well, let's see what we got. The cantina. They're still advertising the British Palitoy Death Star. There's the first 21, and then it's got the first batch of Empire figures. So real early stuff, this. Then on the back we've got the some of the 12-inch range, the electronic command game that we've seen already. A brilliant Han Solo gun. Some of the die casts as well. And the model kits, so the R2 game and the remote control R2, which I've got. So that's a really, really nice Palitoy specific one. I'm not sure which one. It's not in the greatest of shape, but certainly nice to have. Then I've got another Empire one here that I found, which is also in the same box. Also Palitoy, I see, and this is different again. So this one is yeah, it's got the die-cast, so it's very much more Empire specific with Darth Vader's Star Destroyer. It's still got the Han Solo gun. That's the Yoda hand puppet, which we've seen, and then the model kit's down the bottom. Nice to have the Palitoy logo there. Then on the back, it's got the full range of figures up to that point. Falcon, Troop Transport, the Tauntaun. The figures see more of the finished versions that were actually released. They're quite nice that they've got some of them raising their arms up, which is quite funny. Yeah, good stuff. And the first of the mini rigs as well. So really, really nice, those posters. The sort of thing, you know, you'd like to get sort of maybe perhaps framed up and put into your collector's room. Next thing we've got a couple of Scout Walkers. Now, my Scout Walkers are not in the greatest of shape. However, they are both originals. So I'm just going to change the camera again because these are quite large. And I'm just going to pull this out so we can get them in. So I've got 2. That one has got an Empire scene on. And this one, which has got a Return of the Jedi scene on. So quite nice to have a little variation of the 2 Scout Walkers there. I do like the ship. It was one of the ones that it would never display very well, even if you had it on the stand. But this first one here, the Empire one, is definitely a Palitoy one with the Palitoy logo, but with an Empire Strike, a Return of the Jedi logo, Palitoy manufacturer, but with a Empire Strikes Back scene. And then this one hasn't got the Palitoy logo, but it's got the Return of the Jedi scene on it. So I'm guessing this is the later one. And this one's marked. This one's dated 83, and the Empire scene, made in France, interestingly, is dated 82, so it's a year earlier. So that's why I've got the 2 sort of little variations on those Scout Walkers. But once again, it's not a bad toy, but it's just not one of my favourites by any means. Then this piece I've got is actually another slightly more modern piece, and I remember getting this from a friend of mine as a little thank you because I was his best man when he got married, and he knew I was into Star Wars, so he got me this, which is a mid-90s piece, and it's actually a Darth Vader alarm, I think it is, or something like that. There's no batteries in it. There's quite a nice little figural alarm clock for Darth Vader, which I thought was quite nice. And it sort of plays some bits from some dialogue from the movie. So that's that. Now the last bit I've got to show you is the mail order, the Sears mail order Jabba the Hutt playset. Now that's this one here. Now this is when I had the shop. I used to deal with a dealer in America called John DeChico. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And what John had was a hell of a lot of these. And we imported, I think, 10 off him at once. And the boxes were flat packed. But these were, as you see the line box artwork, although it's Kenner, these were for catalogues, a bit like Argos in the UK. But these were, I think, for the Sears catalogue. And it's all the bits that were in a normal Jabba the Hutt play sets. You've got your Salacious Crumb, and there's Jabba's like pipe and the bowl. There is the Jabba the Hutt figure on his throne. And that was the side bit that Jabba, sort of goes in there. And these were sent flat packed, so the actual box goes down like that, so literally like a flat cardboard box, and that's how they were sent over. And we had 10 of these, and we used to sell them in the shop. I hear this is quite a rare piece nowadays because the illustrated box is far more common, which you can sort of understand because that was the one that was sold in most toy shops. However, I really like this one, and I never had a Jabba originally, first time round, so that's why I was really pleased to get one of these. And it is one of those great iconic sets, I guess, isn't it? That every Star Wars fan should have. And certainly, if you do ever come across the chance to get one of those, I would grab it because I think they are pretty rare. There we go. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this latest look through some of my Star Wars, and in this case Black Hole collectibles. Now I've got at least another one or two of these toy unboxings to come, and I did also find recently my B-Wing fighter and my Palitoy Death Star, so those are also coming up in future videos. So do keep subscribed. Thank you very much for watching. Do leave a thumbs up if you have enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.